a book written by an historian on the history of Stormont. The title is The Factory of Grievances. That's all Stormont was, taking in the grievances from constituents throughout Northern Ireland. So there was this very large informal structure. The notion of formalising things ran counter to the culture which had existed for over 50 years. And with all of that, there wasn't any great desire to bring in an ombudsman or any other reforms. 1968 becomes a crucial year. The Wilson government is paying much more attention to what's going on in Northern Ireland. They don't want to intervene. They want to keep as far away from it as possible, but they are putting pressure on Terence O'Neill to do something. And Terence O'Neill had a meeting in London in November 1968. O'Neill comes back and says that we are going to have an ombudsman in Northern Ireland.
The Ombudsman investigates complaints where people believe they have been treated unfairly or have received poor service from a public body. This might be by a local council or government department, or in relation to education, housing or health and social care. For example, a GP, a hospital or care home. The Ombudsman is a free and independent service. We help find solutions to problems without involving the courts. Our investigations look in great detail at the issues in a complaint. We ask questions, gather and assess information to find out what happened and independently reach our findings. Where we find things have gone wrong, we make recommendations to put things right for complainants or their families. We try and resolve things, especially where there is an ongoing relationship between the citizen and the public body. Often an apology is the most important part of this. Our key aim is to help ensure failures don't happen again in future. We've now had an Ombudsman in Northern Ireland for 50 years. Since 1969 we've investigated complaints from around 35,000 members of the public, and we continue to respond to thousands of people each year across our vital public services.
When we first went into the Ombudsman's office, the first thing that struck me was they were actually listening to what we were saying. And, that felt like a great relief that actually somebody was going to give us some assistance. They didn't make any promises. They weren't coming down on our side or anybody else's side. They would have an independent review conducted of the circumstances. And that's all we wanted. Once the report was produced, we met with Laura, who'd produced it, and she explained what the recommendations were. And the recommendations included meeting with the trust, and for the trust to apologise, but also to let us know what changes had taken place as a result of the incident. I also went down on a visit to the hospital, and I was able to see for myself what changes had been made, and that reassured me that the Ombudsman had teeth, if you like. They were able to recommend things, and the hospitals were able to take it on board and move things forward, and things would change.
When my mum died, I was devastated. I was determined to make sure that this would not happen to anyone else. So I wrote a letter to the Northern Ireland Commissioner of Complaints, as it was called then. And then I got a letter back from the Ombudsman to say that they were going to investigate it. And I felt really thrilled that the Ombudsman was going to look at it, and I felt a lot of pressure had been taken off me at that point. They went to great lengths to chase up medical records, and they used 3 independent professional advisors to assess all the documents.
We work very hard in the civil service, and indeed across the public service, to provide high quality public services. But I would be the first to admit that sometimes things go wrong, and when they do go wrong, people deserve to have any complaints they have about quality of service or the treatment they've got investigated quickly. I think it's very clear that we want to have complaints dealt with as close to the source as possible. That means that we need good complaint systems within departments, but equally, if things can't be resolved quickly, then there's a very important role for the Ombudsman in helping to step in and reassure people that their complaints will be dealt with thoroughly and quickly.
Once I got the report, it did take a long time to absorb because they had so much information in it. but I felt relieved. I felt that I'd got part of my life back that had been consuming me for 4 years, trying to get to the bottom of what had happened in my mother's case. And I really feel it brought me some peace. It didn't bring my mother back, but it did bring me some peace.
We were absolutely at the end of the line. We'd gone through the complaints procedure and we didn't get anywhere. We possibly could have gone down the legal route, but that wasn't an option for us. We weren't looking for that. What we were looking for was somebody saying, this is what's happened. And that's what we found with the Ombudsman. I mean, they were an independent body and they looked at things fairly and provided us a report. I would certainly recommend anybody else use the service.